What's going on, all you wild cordyceps infected ghouls out there? Your two favorite video game and HBO Max enthusiasts are back tonight. We are back to talk about the second season of the Emmy award winning series from Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, season two. And it's about a video game that we both played on the Sony PlayStation, an exclusive. Of course, we are talking about season two of The Last of Us.
You swore.
That's right. These two wild gamers are back at it tonight. The Last of Us, that of course hit HBO Max, and finally got around to gather our thoughts about this season and show up here to review it. And being a huge fan of the two games, I was really looking forward to the next chapter in the TV series. Of course, the introduction of the infamous Abby. That's a huge pivotal part, big part of the second game shows up this season. The ultimate demise of Joel and so on. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they did with this season.
Definitely highly anticipating the second season to see how they were going to execute this. And I'm a little disappointed in the way everything turned out, to be honest with you. Just mainly my big qualms about it. Caitlin Devers, great actress. Just Abby from the video games was big, physically imposing character. Obviously, a lot of scenes where she uses brute force, and I just couldn't get it past the fact that Caitlin Devers is a little too skinny for the role. Just being a fan of the video game, just that threw me off. But not only that, but just where we are left with Joel and his ultimate demise at the hands of Abby, it was a little too far of a stretch of the imagination for me how they pulled this off here, and I was kind of taken out of the series, like when that happened, when Joel met his demise. It kind of changed everything with the show, really. We were going along just great. Season one was really fantastic. We both really enjoyed the show. And season two, something just felt a little different and it didn't feel as special. They lost some of the special ingredient that they had in that first season.
Yeah, it really kind of fell off after the death of Joel. I don't know if it's necessarily the story writing, but the whole tone kind of changed too. Like me and you knew it was gonna happen. We knew because playing the games, like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
Joel's gonna die, and this is gonna set up the rest of the story. But they just after that, I don't know, something shifted and just didn't feel like the same show. And honestly, it was painful to get through a lot of these episodes. Like I didn't feel attached to the storytelling, the characters, Ellie being the main one, played by Bella Ramsey, just miscast in, in this character.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of hit or miss reviews. Some people praising Bella, others not so much. I'm on the side that no, I didn't like her in this character. Caitlin Devers looks more like Ellie, like I felt, but I don't know. Just Bella Ramsey. I don't know if it's the
Yeah.
writing of her character. She just annoyed the piss out of me the entire season, and she doesn't have that strength to really carry the series forward. And I never felt that, so that was a big pain point for me. Just after the death of Joel, I just could not keep my interest in this.
Right. And I think that, while I agree with you for sure, I thought she was better in the first season. Maybe it was because, she was younger as an actress and so was the character at that point. But now that she's, obviously older in the story and has grown up herself, she just didn't have the chops that were necessary to carry the show going into the second season. That was my main part. I don't think she's a bad actress per se. I just think this one, especially the second season after Joel gets killed, we needed a really strong performance. And like you mentioned, yeah, Caitlin Devers would have been able to do that heavy lifting, like really move it forward. Not to say that Caitlin Devers is bad as Abby here because she's a badass. Like the character herself, she really shows that emotion. Her father was killed by Joel. That's why she kills Joel on the show. And she definitely portrays that anger, heartbreak. She shows that in just, her eyes alone. Her acting's really great. And I felt like if she was Ellie, it would have been better. Just, having to carry all the trauma of losing Joel, their relationship. But, Bella does okay here. I just thought it could have been better. So it's kind of fell off in that aspect, like we mentioned. And then this whole story in season two, finding Joel's brother, and then moving into this community, which felt like the Old West, kind of like an old, Old West corral town with the saloons and stuff, just how it was set up. That's what it reminded me of here. And then, they brought over elements from the game. And then you had Ellie, going out with a girl in this from the game too. Isabella Merced, Dina, the character of Dina, yeah, which was big from the game. And did that work? I mean, I think Isabella Merced was pretty good actress, but yeah, that whole relationship didn't work for me either. I thought something was missing there, and that was another key relationship from the games that didn't really translate too well in the second season.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying, I think a lot of this was the writing kind of fell off this season a little bit. Not, blaming Bella Ramsey in any way. Loved her in Game of Thrones in the first season. I just maybe some of the writing wasn't there. Maybe that's what was the bad part of it. From what I make of it, and even other characters weren't that interesting either. But I did like Dina. I thought she was a good companion, good love interest, I guess, in this season, much like the video game.
Mhm.
And I love Pedro as always. But the rest of the characters, not as good. But that doesn't really matter. The backdrop of this is incredible. From Wyoming, where they make it to Seattle, which is
Mhm.
my favorite part of the video game, the second one. They go into the aquarium and just all the clickers and infected they
Yeah.
come across is really the whole backdrop. The CGI, everything they did with the city was spot on and incredible.
Yeah.
So I will say
Yeah.
that CGI practical effects, the clickers, infected, the fungus, everything that looked incredible. Like well
Hmm.
done,
Yes.
bravo. Bravo. Just didn't have that writing and some of the characters to bring it all together.
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah. The special effects, the clickers themselves, all those were phenomenal for sure. Like the big heavy set one that was basically unstoppable. They had to fry it with the
Yeah,
flamethrower. Yeah, there's some really memorable clickers this season for sure. And those were the high points for me. Just the way everything looked was phenomenal. They really translated that well onto screen from the video game. I thought some of those shots that they were able to capture looked, just how I remembered from the game. So definitely kudos to the cinematography, the sets and everything, the art design, the clickers themselves. Everything looks fantastic. Just like you mentioned, I think the writing was left a little to be desired. They didn't fully flesh out a few of these characters as well as they did in that first season. I remember several episodes from that first season were really impactful, and it felt like there was only maybe one or two really impactful episodes from this season. Obviously, one that comes to mind, the huge one that everybody was waiting for was, the ultimate demise of Joel at the hands of Abby. How was that going to go down? And that was pretty well done, as far as how it was done on screen, with Abby with the golf club, the handle through his head. That was brutal. That was a brutal episode for sure. And then we got that really cool action scene with all the infected in the lake, the frozen lake, wasn't it? That
hmm
sort of yeah, it dried up and woke them all up, and they went chasing after Ellie. That was pretty crazy scene that stood out for me. And then, towards the end of the season too, I thought it got stronger as it went on, with them going towards Seattle, like you mentioned. So, this season as a whole wasn't terrible. It just, like I said, like we said before, it just lacked a little of that magic that first season has. So I still think there's hope moving forward. I think they just pulled off the gas pedal a little bit this season, and you know, a few notches down below in quality from the first season.
Agreed with you. Uh, I would say not terrible, but not good either.
Yeah,
Two
somewhere in the
first,
middle.
somewhere in the middle. First few episodes had me. Last few were okay. There's a lot of problems with it this season, as most people have noticed as well. Some really silly ideas and direction, I think, this season as well, and didn't really make sense to me. But I will say Caitlin Devers kills it as Abby. Just doesn't physically look like her. I mean, from the video game, I always thought she was like 6 foot tall and like
Hmm.
huge. Where
Yeah.
Caitlin's kind of small, short too. But
Hmm.
I felt like she was Abby though. Like she
Yeah.
really had that, and was one of the best parts of the season for sure. The actress and Dina I thought was really good. Joel and a few.
Mhm.
clickers, the visuals, everything, the horror aspects of this. I wish there was more in this season, which was another negative remark about it. I don't feel like there was enough of the infected or the clickers. A few episodes were awesome, but
Mhm.
more of that, more of the horror, much like the game. So,
Yeah.
yeah, with that being said, this is a season I was like, meh, after watching it. Wasn't too excited to watch
Mhm.
this each week, and I was pretty disappointed with the season, honestly. And hopefully, the next season with Abby, Caitlin Deaver, focal point, will be much better. And I can't wait to see what they dive into in Seattle. So, with that being said, I'm going to give season 2 of The Last of Us, streaming on Max, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Caitlin Deaver's hair pieces.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. This season was just okay. Fell off from the first season. Disappointment for sure. You can't help but be disappointed. There were some good things about it, good aspects, but overall, this should have been even better than the first season. And it wasn't, unfortunately. But we'll see where things go in season 3. Looking forward to it still, but definitely it's not something I'm clamoring for, and it's going to be a while for it to shoot. So, bummer, but hopefully they can recapture some of the magic of the first season in the next one. So we'll see how that goes. So with that being said, I am going to give The Last of Us season 2. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 Joel hair pieces.
Hear from all you wild video game PlayStation gamers out there. What did you like about the new season of The Last of Us? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite season thus far? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to stamp subscribe. Also, check out these wild uncles on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews.
So thank you guys for watching our review of season 2 of The Last of Us. And you better believe these two wild rascals are going to be back to review some more, hopefully great TV series. We have the new season of The Bear. It's actually dropping tonight as we record this. So you best believe we're going to be binging that and reviewing that. And we can't wait. We love the show. Chicago boys here, so we always get excited for a new season and other great series coming back this summer. We're really looking forward to reviewing a lot for you guys, movies too. So these boys are going to be busy. Thank you guys for joining us for another Cinephellas TV review. And until the next Cinephellas TV review, I am Uncle Henry.
And I'm Uncle Richie signing out till the next TV review. Cheers!
Cheers! For
No, no.